been working on me, man, since I was born. And don't forget, man. I represent Jesus Christ.
What's up, Foundation? What's up, YouTube? Man, it's me, your big partner, Tony. Man, I'm back again. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that comment button for me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Help your big partner out, man. Do some things. I'm trying to bounce back. I'm bouncing back slowly but surely, but I can't do it without y'all. Anyway, man, this is a story about, like the title of the video, it's harder to keep peace than it is to make war. Now, a lot of people are like, what you mean? I'm speaking on in jail and sometimes on the streets. But in jail, it's harder to keep peace than it is to go to war. You know, it don't take nothing. Like I say, anybody can fight. Anybody can fight. Anytime you ball your fist up, even if if you got a fist or your hand is open, when you swing it at another person in an act of aggression, you are fighting. Everybody can't fight good, but everybody can fight. Just once you throw a blow, you have initiated the act of fighting. And it's easy to do that. But now what's hard to do is to diffuse a situation, to make a problem go away, to come to an understanding verbally before it gets physical, or to come to use verbal things to make a physical problem not manifest itself and to go away. I'm gonna give you an example. In 2000, in the mid 2000s, around 2015, 16, 17, in the Alabama prison system, the Crips and Disciples had went to all out war. And it had never got to this level before. This was a war that went not just in one prison, get into it, dudes chop each other up and go to jail, and it ends. No, this went from prison to prison to prison to prison. Dudes got on them cell phones and they start calling, and it kicked off over here. Calling, kicked off over there. Kicked off over here. Kicked off over there. You know what I'm saying? And it was a situation that I could say the Crips started it. You know what I'm saying? Where they at fault in a way. Well, I'm gonna give you the scenario. I spoke on it a little bit before. The story is really not about the war that took place, but it's about how I diffused it in the prison that I was in at the time. I'm gonna get to that later, but I'm gonna give you a little quick synopsis on what had happened. In one of the maximum security prisons in Alabama, the Crips had got real deep, got super duper deep. They basically had just took the whole prison over. I'm talking about they was running roughshod over everything, you know? Now, with anybody, they only gonna accept so much disrespect before they react. And that's what had happened in this prison. It was so many Crips, the administration couldn't do nothing with them. They were stabbing up police. They were stabbing up, I'm talking about, when I say police, sergeants, lieutenants, all that was getting it. Not only were they doing their thing on the police, they was doing their thing on all the other groups, inmates that was in that prison. Whatever group they was, the Crips didn't care nothing about it no more. It was so many of them, and they had so many hard heads that they was just really just doing their thing. Before this had happened, there had never really been a big overall problem between Crips and disciples. You know, meet the regular, this dude, that dude got into it, this dude, that dude got into it, or whatever. That was taking place, but as far as an all-out get-down that went from prison to prison to prison, where dudes was getting airlifted in helicopters sent to the hospital, it had never really went that far until now. And what had happened was the disciples, they got some dope sent in through the visiting yard. And somehow, some way, the Crips intercepted the pack and they got it and refused to give it back. You know what I'm saying? We got that and what? You know? Oh, man. So it really kind of put the disciples in a position that's like, you know, hey, man, if we don't react, we will never, ever, ever have any type respect or footing in these prisons again, you know? And at that time, the GDs and the BDs didn't see eye to eye, you know what I'm saying? they had oh, well, something had happened. But anyway, they had GDs, they had BDs, they had IGDs, and they had what they call new breeds, BGs. They was all kind of doing their own thing. But when this problem took place, they all came together because singularly, they weren't going to be able to stand up to the Crips. So they came together, you know what I'm saying? Like they would always say, they all come from the same tree, just different branches. And they did their thing. They came together. They enacted a prison-wide sneak attack. You know what I'm saying? They did their homework. They figured out who was who, what is what, who was the main targets going to be, who needed to be hit, who needed to be isolated, and so on and so forth. And boom, they rocked the Crips to sleep like it wasn't no thing, and then they attacked. That whole prison, that whole day was nothing but melees and drama all the way around the table. I'm talking about it was bad. It was bad. Dudes was getting airlifted out of there in helicopters, you know what I'm saying? Infirmary was full. People got stabbed. A lot of people got hurt bad, you know what I'm saying? And I will say, because of the sneak attack, the Crips that day, they wore the worst of it. You know what I'm saying? They kind of got rocked in and got done that day. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, it didn't stop that day. It went on and on and on and on and on because no group is gonna take a lick like they took that day and not strike back. You feel what I'm saying? And the lick was so severe that it went from prison to prison to prison. Like I say, dudes getting on them cell phones and they calling dudes in other prisons. Hey man, look, hey, they just did this. They just hit us this way, y'all. Woo, 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 woo. Y'all take off, y'all. Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And it was going. It was spreading out. I wasn't in this prison. It took place in St. Clair. I wasn't in the prison at the time. At the time, I was in Limestone, getting ready to go for parole. And so, when the whole drama went down, it spread throughout the system. At that time, Limestone didn't even have cell phones. That was probably one of the only two prisons in Alabama that didn't have cell phones, Limestone and Easterling. But Limestone had a statewide lockup. Statewide lockup was like the SHU program in Cali. Dudes coming from everywhere, from all over. I'm talking about they was coming in, putting them in the statewide lockup, basically in the SHU. Y'all stop it, doggy. Putting them in the statewide lockup, basically the SHU program, for stabbing cases all over the Alabama prison system. It was going down. It was going down. Yes, it was going down. So now when dudes was coming to the lockup, they sending word out to the main line, to the population, on what was happening. So that's how we kind of got word about it. So now dudes was like, what? And as people start coming in more and more, we started understanding the validity of it. You know what I'm saying? People start calling home on the regular phones, calling to the streets, and other people was, you know what I'm saying? Hey, the message got up in there to the point to where, you know, we was kind of isolated at first, but we kind of realized, hey man, wait a minute. If it's going down like that, even y'all stop it. It's finna kick off here. It's finna kick off here. So at the time, it was a brother named Rock. He was like, at that time, probably the most influential disciple on the yard at the time. As far as the Crips, and for the Crips, it was me. When we first started hearing about it, and you know, me and Rock, we had talked, but we didn't think it was really too much of nothing at first. And then as it got even more worser, the administration called me and Rock up to the front, and to the it wasn't the warden, it was the captain. They had called us up there and they like, look, I don't know if y'all heard about what's going on around the system, but it's bad. And it, you know, we don't want it to hit this prison. It ain't been no problems. We don't want it to be no problems. Now, of course, Rock didn't have nothing to really say to him. I didn't have nothing to really say to him. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't finna discuss our politics and our business with the administration. But now administration gonna always do what the administration gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the Alabama system. They got a habit of trying to call the heads up and trying to get the problem settled before, you know, it get too bad. Or if the problem hits, calling the influential people up and trying to get them to talk to their people to try to get the problem to go away, you know? So, you know, the only thing that me and Rock was, you know, told them at that time was like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? We gonna check into it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We didn't really have nothing to say to the administration. Whatever we was gonna do, we was gonna talk amongst each other and handle this, you know? It was our business, our problem, basically our war. Bump the administration. So, you know, me and Rock, we had talked. We were like, man, you know, we didn't know it was this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, you know? So it was like, dang, man, dang. So we both agreed that, well, look, man, everybody been cool in this prison all this time. We ain't really had no problem. We understand what's going on around the system. But now, if you willing, I'm willing. If I'm willing, you willing. Let's just talk to our prospective people and try to keep everything cool here. So we ain't got to, you know what I'm saying, start stabbing each other, go lockdown, you know what I'm saying, you know, dudes get shipped, parole dates get messed up, all this and that. Let's try to keep everything copacetic here. And I met Rock halfway. I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. Ain't got a problem with it. I got it the little young Crips. He got it all the disciples. And boom, everything was cool for a minute. Now, remember I told you, they had the statewide lockup was basically their shoe program. Dudes was coming back there, going to that lockup program. We had our own like little certain ways of getting information through the wall phones and different little things. Certain stuff I'd heard, certain stuff he had heard. What had happened was where the rubber met the road at was, dude come to me one day and told me, hey Toon, such and such is up here. I ain't gonna say his name. Now such and such was a Crip. His name, it came up in the unaliving of a disciple in another prison. When they told me he was here, I'm like, okay, where he at? He back there in lockup. I'm like, all right. What's up with him? The dude, he was a runner. He worked back there. He like, they finna let him out though. What? They finna let him out. Okay. So now I'm knowing if it came to me, it came to the G's. When I use the term G's, that's what they call the disciples, the G's. So I'm like, man, you know what? Now this is what I tell you, it's harder to keep peace than it is to make war, you know? I'm proactive with what I get at, but my get out. I'm going to the head. I'm gonna nip it in the bud and try to get to it. The dude that was getting out of lockup, I knew him. We had done time together. You know what I'm saying? I knew him. Now, I'm knowing if he get out, these boys ain't really got no choice but to act. Because if he, you know what I'm saying, but however his name was involved in this dude losing his life, they gonna act. At least I would expect them to. It put me in a position where, okay, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it's prison system wide war right now, other than right here. Whatever, however it happened, whatever took place, it's a part of it. But now whatever they would have chose to do, it would have been a part of whatever too. And our reaction to it would have just been a part of whatever too. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, no matter what it was, you're not finna do nothing to the homie. No, not for real. You know, we gonna tear this prison up. That's what we gonna end up doing. That's what it was gonna come to. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't really want it to come to that. So boom. I went to Rock and I spoke with him. I say, look, I know you already know as well as I know, and he did know that such and such get ready to get out of lockup. I know you heard whatever you heard about it, da. I say, listen, I ain't finna mince words with you. I'm gonna give it to you in a raw. You know as well as I know. I'm not gonna let you, we not gonna let you do nothing to our homeboy. Simple as that. Now, whatever orders y'all may have been given or whatever y'all might feel y'all have to do, I understand that. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I understand protocol, how things go. But you also got to understand that we not finna sit idle and let you touch our people. Point blank. I say, me and you both know we don't want this to go to a war. In this prison, this is the biggest prison in the state of Alabama. It was a lot. It was thousands of people in this prison. A whole lot of them and a whole lot of us. You know what I'm saying? And if it was going to go, it was going to be ugly. A lot of people was going to get hurt. A lot of people was going to lose parole dates. And I ain't going to lie, me being one, my parole date was coming up. Even though I got set off, I didn't make that parole date. Even mine, though. And so we tried to figure out, what direction this was going to go, how it was going to go, how it was going to go. And it went round and round and round. And sometimes, you got to think about stuff. Say, you know what? The only way this can happen without everybody going down the drain is, I told him, when the homie get out, if y'all feel it in y'all heart that y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all got to, it got to go. I said, I tell you what, get one of yours and we'll get him. And it could be one-on-one. With knives or without knives, however you feel it got to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that was for me, that was the best way I seen fit for it to happen, because if they wouldn't agreed on it like that, they were going to try to attack him in mass, and we were going to defend him in mass, And the way my mind is, I'm proactive. Depending on how that conversation would have went right then, depending on what he would have said to me right then, really dictated my next move. Because if what the words that came out of his mouth right then and there, if I did not feel comfortable with them words, I was going to attack. I was going to have all my people attack right then and there. We ain't finna wait. I ain't never been no one to let someone else get the first lick in. No, I'd have been like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And I would have walked away, and I would immediately rally the troops. Hey, man, it's going down right now. It's going down right now. When we talked. He agreed on that. Because It was the only way that it was going to be able to happen without everybody going down to the ground. And the cold part about it, this was the first time it came about again. If y'all go back through some of my old videos way back, this same situation I'm talking about right now, I told you about it with this dude, but I also told you about it when this problem went away. Well, I didn't tell you about how this problem went away, but when the next dude came with the same type of get down on him, what had happened with that one? Y'all have to go back through my old videos. And without this having to go a certain type way, he agreed with it. He said, okay, cool. If he come out, that's how we'll do it. I say, yeah, it won't be no sneak attacking. Won't be no none of this, none of that. Won't be none of that. Boom. And we agreed it's going to be with knives because of the severity of the situation. Give your partner whatever you're going to give it. We're going to give ours whatever we going to get him. You know what I'm saying? And it was going to be like 2 go in, 1 come out. Straight up. 2 go in, 1 come out. Gladiator style. You know what I'm saying? It was going to be they people with 1 extra one. It was going to be our people with 1 extra one. They go to handle their business. The 2 standing outside going to stand outside. And just like they say in the Gladiator movies, 2 go in, 1 come out. And that's just how it go. And that's just how it was going to go. This situation, it didn't have to go that route because the dude didn't get out of lockup. They end up transferring him to another prison called Holman. Which had another major statewide lockup. But it wasn't nothing but the icing on the cake for real, because it wasn't nothing but about a month and a half later, they sent another dude there that was getting out of lockup that they had orders to do something to. And of course, we had to go through this whole thing, but it went kind of differently. That's a story for another time. Matter of fact, I'll tell y'all that in the next story. But that right there, man, is something that keeping the peace to me is an art form. It's easy to say F everything and just go crazy and get everybody messed up. But it's harder to come together and say, hey, look, let me holler at you and let's talk. Wop, 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 whoop, 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 we. And like, that's cool. And let's leave it there and come together with a solution to where everybody ain't got to get messed up, And that's what I told this story for those who listen to like, hey, look, it's always a better way. It's always a better way than having to lose your people, having to lose your life, having to have to take someone else's life. There's a better way, man. There's a better way. Cooler heads can prevail. Not saying that it's going to always work. Sometimes it don't work. But what I'm saying is at least give it a try. You know what I'm saying? At least give it a try. Let's see if we can come to an understanding without getting savage and barbaric about the situation. That's what I'm saying on that one, y'all. But listen, in the meantime, between time, tell the people that you love them. And I'm with you, man. I'm your partner, man, Big Tony. I represent Jesus Christ in a better way, I'm out, y'all. Peace.